Hello, and launching for PC in 2019, Killsquad has not pulled up any trees with the audience it's built up over the last 4 years, but now with the PlayStation launch it has opened the gates for more people to come in and taste its offerings, but of course at a time when Diablo 4 is fresh in our minds and Path of Exile 2 is on the horizon. There is not really much Octagon left for a smaller and lazy-known loot-driven action RPG. That said, if what you are looking for is bite-sized, if unremarkable fun in the general, Killsquad is plainly worth a look. It's not the most well-balanced action RPG that you will ever play, and it clearly does not have the legs to be engineered over a prolonged period of time. But its moment-to-moment action does tend to be enjoyable in short bursts even if it can eventually get a bit repetitive. Rain action is in fact perhaps one of Killsquad's biggest strengths, and maybe the only one it has without any major caveats, while it has all the progressions and loot system of an action RPG. When it comes to the actual combat, Killsquad is a twin-stick shooter thanks to snappy controls and the action feeling immediate and satisfying. The combat is, at least on a fundamental level, always fun. Yes, it does wear a little thin as you progress deeper into the game, but that loop of dodging using abilities and cooldowns and shooting enemies does tend to be an engaging one, especially thanks to the variety of enemies then you do face. That's not to say combat is flawless. One of the bigger issue it has is with its difficulty, which tends to be widely unbalanced on surging and not always in the same fashion enemies, bosses, and mobs that should pose a serious threat can often be disappointingly easily to destroy, while at the same time the game also randomly has difficulty spikes where it can feel like you are just beating your head against that wall. While the twin-stick shooting remains engaging for the most part, the experience does get dragged down a little bit when you realize how it's lacking in depth. The progressions and loot system have similar issue, and the surface they provide a decent amount of options and control over build variety, from being able to unlock and power up abilities to optimizing your build with the gear and equipment that you have equipped, but it's rare to find a weapon or equipment piece that generally exists you in any way, which is not something that you want to be saying about a loot-driven actions RPG. Well, there are enough layers here to keep players engaged on a fundamental level for some time. For those who like to dive into the weeds and tinker with builds to see tangible effects, Killsquad might be a disappointment. It does not help that the level that you are going through in Killsquad are quite bland, so there are some variety to be had in terms of the environments and scenery. The actual design of the levels is approachable at the best and downright atrocious at worst. There is very little room for explorations, and most levels end up being little more than linear corridors going from one point to the other with a few minor branches and divisions thrown in here and there. Missions objectives also tend to be uninspired and generic, and often even downright obtuse, making it difficult for you to understand what you are even supposed to do in contained situations or surgeons. You will be stopping to pick up items, open doors, or collect loot from chests, but on the field there is very little to do other than walking in one direction and shooting at enemies. As you can imagine, that can get repetitive pretty quickly. Thankfully, Killsquad does have multiple different playable characters, and there is some variety on display here. Characters have different looks and specialize in different forms of combat, from range to melee, which of course also grant them their own set of abilities for those looking to go through Killsquad solo. That means there's at least one reason to run through every missions multiple times just so we can experience it as different characters and keep leveling them up. Meanwhile, for corporation players having their right party compositions and sunrising, their abilities and attributes can also be fun. On Surgeon, if the previously mentioned unbalanced difficulty duels, the edge on that front just a little bit outside of the actual gameplay. However, Killsquad misuse its characters horribly. In fact, it's not just the characters, it also misuse its setting and story horribly to the extent that I wonder if there even is a story here. In my time with the game, I have visually been able to put together that there's a conflict between factions in the game's sci-fi setting, and that you are part of a group of mercenaries who takes on different contracts from those factions. So all of that is presented through small bits of background dialogue at the beginning.